Video and photos emerged on social media reportedly showing Pantsir S1 anti-aircraft gun missile systems positioned on top of the headquarters of the Russian Ministry of Defense and other buildings in the center of Moscow. Photographs published on social media on Thursday showed a Pantsir missile system had been installed on the roof of an 8-story building used by the Russian Defense Ministry along the Moskva River. Another video showed the Pantsir being lifted onto the roof of an education building in Moscow's Taganka district, 1.5 miles southeast of the Kremlin. Furthermore, S-400 surface-to-air missile batteries were also deployed in the area of the Losiny Ostrov National Park, close to residential areas in Moscow. Russian military officials did not immediately confirm the installation of the missile systems. The Pantsir S1 is an air defense missile gun system designed to protect vital small-size and big military areas, industrial targets and land forces units, and reinforce the air defense units responsible for the protection of troops and military installations against precision-guided air attack from low and extremely low altitudes. The mobile version of the Pantsir S1 system includes a combat vehicle up to 6 vehicles in a battery, surface-to-air guided missiles, 30mm rounds, a transporter loader vehicle, 1 per 2 combat vehicles, maintenance and training facilities. The Pantsir S1 system consists of 12 radio command-guided missiles, 2 rapid-firing 30mm 2A38 autocannons, and electro-optical and radar sensors. It is based on the supersonic 57E6 interceptor missiles that can engage targets at a range of 200 meters to 20 kilometers and reach high maximum altitudes of 33,000–49,000 feet, while the cannons add an extra final line of defense. Russian sources claim that the missile can hit air targets, flying at speeds up to 1,000 meters per second. Russia's KBP Instrument Design Bureau began developing the Pantsir in 1989 to replace the 2K-22 Tunguska air defense system. Initially, the system was meant to defend against airfield attacks, missile silos, command posts, and communication arrays. However, after the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, the Pantsir was repurposed as a short-range defense for Russian ground forces. The finalized Pantsir design was inducted into the service in 2003. The Pantsir's fire control system, FCS, relies on a target acquisition radar and dual waveband tracking radar, which operates in the UHF and EHF, ultra-high frequency and emergency high frequency, wavebands. The radar has a detection range of 32–36 kilometers and a tracking range of 24–28 kilometers for a target with a radar cross-section, RCS, of 2 square meters. The radar can track targets and the surface-to-air missile while in flight. In addition to the radar, the FCS also uses an electro-optic channel with a long-wave thermal imager and infrared direction finder, including digital signal processing and automatic target tracking. The S-400 is easily the superior option as far as firepower, able to hit aerial targets at ranges up to 250 kilometers, 155 miles, and capable of intercepting ballistic missiles from a distance of up to 60 kilometers, 37 miles. It has also proven capable of attacks on aircraft, with older American-made planes like the F-16 and F/A-18EF Super Hornet likely facing challenges to evade it. In the case of Ukraine's under-equipped air force, such a missile defense system would likely prove a sufficient deterrent. For urban defense purposes, however, the Pantsir is likely the ideal option. While the S-400 is capable of longer-range strikes against aerial targets and has been used for offensive missions in the past, the Pantsir defense system is intended for use at closer range, incorporating a mix of anti-aircraft guns and missiles capable of intercepting high-speed air-to-ground missiles at a range of 7 kilometers, slightly over 4 miles, and tactical aircraft at up to 20 kilometers, more than 12 miles. It's also much cheaper than the S-400, whose multi-million-dollar cost per missile can prove difficult to justify against the inexpensive weaponry that has become standard in the Russia-Ukraine war. Where the S-400 costs $300 million per system according to some estimates, the Pantsir can be had at under $15 million. It's also more versatile, with anti-aircraft guns that can also engage targets up to 4 kilometers away, about 2.5 miles, at a fire rate of approximately 40 rounds per second, giving the Russians a more inexpensive defensive option in the instance of frequent attacks by low-tech unmanned aerial vehicles. The appearance of the missile systems in Moscow showed that the Russian military leadership was concerned now about attacks on their own cities. It means that the leadership perfectly understand all the risks and understand that strikes against Moscow and the regions are just a question of time, wrote Alexander Kots, a prominent Russian journalist who supports the Russian war in Ukraine. It's good to begin planning in advance instead of after the first strikes. The appearance of the defensive missile systems highlights Russia's lack of success in the war. Mysterious explosions have taken place at military sites in Crimea and at several airbases used by Russian strategic bombers last month deep inside Russian territory. Ukrainian officials have also said they have begun testing long-range drones that can travel up to 1,000 kilometers (621 miles), potentially putting Moscow in striking distance. Russia has long given a very high priority to maintaining advanced ground-based air defenses, but it is increasingly clear that it is struggling to counter air threats deep inside Russia, the UK Defence Ministry wrote last year, a day after the explosions at Russia's Engels airbase.